What do we have going on this week, you ask? Running boards, front fenders, back filler panel for the back window, finishing our console, put our wiper motor in, dimmer switch, tail lights, license plate light. That's a lot of work. We'll see how much we can get done. All right, so we got a body work on our running boards. Flatten that out. Once that's all smooth, I think it's going to look good. Get them all painted up. So that was the solution for those. We'll keep working on them, but while the weather's still good, let's pull these front fenders out. They're looking pretty rusty on the inside, but it's not rusted through. We do have a crimp right here that we got to fix. We'll have to get the welder out and pound that out and re-weld it. Initially I said there wasn't any body work in here, but I think I'm finding there's a little bit of mud right there. We'll have to grind that down and see what we got. But yeah, let's do it, man. Well, after knocking layers of dirt and rust off this thing, you can see where she actually had a pretty good wing ding put in her. Yep. And they didn't really do a bang up job on the repair. So at second thought, there is probably a lot of Bondo in this thing. Question is, what are we going to do about it? At this stage of the game, I'm not really sure. I don't know if we should just probably try to repair what's there and run with this fender for now, because I'm sure these fenders are pretty tough to find. Am I going to tear this thing apart and do a proper repair on it? quite honestly, I don't have the tools to do that. I don't have an English wheel. I don't have any tools that can actually roll the metal properly. And the thought of getting a sandbag and trying to beat metal, I just don't think that's what we're going to do. I think our best bet with this particular project, like I said, this is my truck, so it's going to be for me to kick around in, ice cream getter or whatever, car shows. I think we're just going to try to repair to the best of my ability what's there. It does have a patch that I noticed, and I'm assuming that's probably where the bumper came through. I don't know. I don't really know that much about these trucks. Kind of thinking that's what that was there for, and they just threw a piece of metal over it to patch the hole and bondoed it. So yeah, I guess there's a lot more bondo than I thought there would be in this truck. The cab, however, is pretty rust free, and there were no holes in it. So I guess we lucked out there. So I'm going to keep going forward on this fender, fix it to the best of my ability, and get it somewhat straight. And we're going to run with it. Okay, so we got our passenger fender worked out to the best of our ability. I think it'll work out for us. I mean, it's not like you can go online and buy fenders for a 1946 Chevy truck, front fenders anyway. There's a lot of guys on eBay that have rusted out pieces of crap, the same as we got, and they want like $400 for them. I think we just stick with what we got. Chevs of the 40s did show a fiberglass fender for 1946, but it's also listed as unavailable. So there you go. I couldn't even get a price on it, so I don't even know if that's something that I would do anyway, but they do list them, but they are unavailable. So I guess we're going to get the pounding on these things, grind them down, and just try to make them the best that we can make them. Ground all the rust and loose material out of these fenders. Made some repairs. Hit them both with rust reformer and some undercoating. Driver's side fender, not too bad a shape. This one, after we ground all the dirt and rust and everything off it, you can actually see where this passenger side fender took quite a while. But it is what it is. Like I said, you can't just go online and buy fenders for a 1946 Chevy pickup, you know, aftermarket or whatever. But we already talked about that. But anyway, did the same thing with the running boards. Ground all the rust off the bottoms, all the debris. Rust reformer and undercoated those. We started smoothing those out. That's coming along pretty good. The exterior of these fenders doesn't really look that bad. There's a few dimples here and there. We'll just run over the whole thing with some Bondo, and then we'll just sand everything right down, and those should be good. So next, I'm thinking we got to hit these doors and the hood. The hood is going to take a little bit of work. We got a little bit of welding to do on that. The doors, pretty much, we had to jump on those earlier. So there's not really much to do on those except for a lot of sanding, maybe a little bit of Bondo, not much. We'll get those ready to go. I'm thinking we're probably not going to be able to get this stuff painted till spring now. I mean, there's still quite a bit of work to do to them, but I'm not going to try to push it and try to shoot them while it's, you know, 50 degrees outside and stuff, unlike we did to the cab. We caught a couple good days. We're lucky with that, but I don't think we're going to be as lucky with these things. We're going to bring our attention back to the cab. I want to get this console finished and painted so we can get it mounted in there. Get the cab insulated and the headliners in. So that's the goal, probably tomorrow or the next day. Working on the inside of the cab while this stuff all dries. So we'll get back at it tomorrow. I went and made a template, a paper template out of the headliner that I showed you last week, and fitted up in here using the screw holes that they had supplied in the headliner to match up inside the cab. This is what we come up with. The holes in the headliner match up with the holes in this headliner support. The holes on the sides match up with the holes on the door tops. Pretty sure this is in the right position. You can see we still have a little bit more work to do on our console. All we're going to need to do is make filler panels for each side. The back panels, same way, the holes line up. Then this back metal filler panel goes back on here to support the window, and the headliner goes behind it, from what I understand. So it's possible that I will use that cardboard, fiberboard headliner. I don't know. There's an awful lot to do, so I think we better get started. Alright, so yesterday we were able to get a lot of good body work in. Running boards, front fenders, back panel piece. Today, not so much. Weather forecast said it was supposed to be nice all the rest of the week, but today, cold and rainy. You never know what you're going to get up there. So, having said that, I think we're going to be working in the garage today. We're almost ready to throw some paint on our console, so we can do that in here. We can also get our tail lights in. The biggest debate in our house is how far in should these lights be recessed, or should we bring them out so you can see some of the design of the light. I think bringing them out a little bit is winning, so why don't we play around with that today and see what we come up with. I'm thinking we should do some insulating in the cab today so we can get our headliner in, so we can get our console in, so we can get our dash in. So let's see how much we can get done today. So I guess on these taillights, what the big debate is, do we go all the way in like that, or do we pull this out so we can see some of that chrome detail? Everybody's leaning towards that. So I guess that we're going to try to fab something to make this thing stick out just a little bit, about like that. So oddly enough, the holes that came in the bezel don't line up with the holes that go in the housing. You could line one hole up, but then you have to drill the other one out. Don't know why. That's just the way it is. I ended up using 1.5-inch spacers to bring it out so we could just see the chrome on that. That seemed to be what everybody was leaning towards. What I ended up having to do was drill these holes larger so I could fit these longer bolts in. Put the bolts through, put the spacer on the back side, and then bolted it to the housing on the inside, so that brought it out about 1.5 inches. Well, there she is, guys. It's looking pretty good. Yeah. So it worked out pretty good. Kind of thinking I really wanted to sink them all the way in, but everybody else says that they should come out, and I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm just afraid somebody's going to walk behind the truck and give them a whack, you know what I mean? But we'll see. If it becomes an issue, then I can always take the spacers off and just sink them in. But at least we got our tail lights in. We'll have to make a bracket for our license plate. I forgot to do that, where the housing goes in to the frame. I forgot to make a little bracket for that, so we'll have to do that later. But I think from here, maybe shoot some paint on our console, see if we can't get that all finished up this week. I don't know if I ever told you guys about this spray system you can get at the local home center. You get the sprayer, the bottle, and I actually got an extra cartridge for less than $10. So what this does, it'll enable me to shoot this console and that back panel without having to get the spray gun out, fire the compressor up, all that good crap. We're just going to do this real quick. This isn't a SEMA build, this is a driver. So we're going to go ahead and use that system right there and see how well it turns out. Hey, if it messes up, we'll just sand it down and do it the right way. Let's do it, man. Alright, so yesterday we got our back panel sprayed out with that $10 aerosol sprayer. Tell you what, for what it is, did a pretty good job. Got our console up in there. Look how sparkly she is. That really turned out nice. Look at that. Nice sparkles. Alright, so now we'll get in here and insulate this cab so we can get our headliner in, get our console mounted in there, we can get our dash in there, and so on and so forth. So let's get to work, man. Kind of funny how utilitarian these vehicles were back in the day. I mean, if you owned a truck back then, you were like a farmer or a carpenter or a plumber, and you were actually making money with these vehicles. Today we're trying to turn them into hot rods and ice cream getters and car show goers and whatever. But yeah, it's cool. Any of you guys are interested, I'm just using a roll of double reflective insulation that I got from the home center, less than 20 bucks. Seems to be working out really well for making this sound less like a tin can, and that was the goal actually. It's building on a budget, baby. If I'd have bought some of that boom mat or sound deadening material, would have ran about 300 bucks to do this truck. So we actually got her insulated for like $20. And another reason why I did it that way is because the guy who had this truck before me put a similar material on, and this is stuck on. Luckily, this cab was in such good shape I didn't have to pull that all off. So we just continued basically what they had somewhat. We'll finish filling this in here. Let me get to doing that. So after fighting with this for a better part of an hour, I figured out there's a kind of a sequence you need to use to put this thing together. I also believe I'm missing some pieces. So it doesn't actually line up perfectly, which I am sure coming from the factory back then it probably didn't either. Because these things were utilitarian vehicles, they weren't all that picky. Um, I'm going to keep fighting with this, try to get the front of it done. This stuff's not very durable at all. One wrong move and I think I'm going to crease it and then we're really going to be screwed. But I'm going to try to get it up in there anyway. Well, I can honestly say I'm not a fan of the cardboard headliner. It's not going to work in here. It's not going to work for me. I'm going to stick to the original plan, which was to use it as a template to make a headliner in here. I had that thing in here and it wasn't working for me. It wasn't working. And we'll have to work on that maybe next week. I don't know. But we got an awful lot done this week. We got to put a lot of time in on the running boards, put some time in on the fenders. We got our back filler panel done and installed. Got our console done. Not quite installed yet, but it's done. Wiper motor we still have to do, dimmer switch, tail lights we got in. License plate light, I gotta make a bracket for that yet. Insulated the cab. Put the headliner in, but that's not gonna work. We're gonna have to do something different for headliner. That's probably gonna be a next week project. It's probably the most productive week I think I've had. Maybe not, but seemed like it was anyway. We got a lot done this week, but we still got a whole lot more to do. So, till next week, take it easy, man.